right? This is content. And you can create so many layers of touch points through content if you really take the time to sit down and map out your customer journey, right? And a part of like the layers of value that you can create is the fact that I have everybody on this Zoom right now who can speak with me personally. When this content goes to YouTube, they can't ask questions because right now I'm not answering the chat. So in order for them to get to know me and go a step deeper, they're gonna, if anybody watches this on YouTube via the live stream, to learn more about me, to see, what I'm doing. And that's really where our relationships can begin. Like, and it doesn't matter what kind of business we're in, and it doesn't matter what we're trying to do. As far as, if you're trying to grow on a platform, you can grow your business through a platform. You could grow your podcast through a platform, and these are all platforms that social media gives us access to. But then we could go a step deeper and really build our own platform via email marketing, etc. So I kind of want to get into my guests and who's on the call, and I really would like some engagement as well. I kind of I'll go around if you're interested in sharing who you are and what you do and kind of your goals when it comes to content creation. I'll just go like that to have some order. So, Drew, do you mind sharing?
Yeah, sure. Why not, man? I'll start it out. My name's Drew Smith. I own Trinity Solutions. We are the areas we're looking to be, with your help and assistance, the area's preeminent credit repair company. All right. I'm looking to learn how to use the internet, learn how to use this marketing platform to be able to preach and teach, the value of good credit, how to get it, how to attain it, what to do with it once you get it. Looking to cast a bigger net.
Nice, nice. Thanks for sharing. And I'm gonna write all this stuff down as well because I'm gonna come back to everybody as well, with what they're sharing and their goals. So you're trying to, if I get this correct, you're trying to build influence online, right?
Correct, correct. Yeah.
What about you, Josh? Can you share?
Yep. So I'm Josh Buchter, the founder, CEO of Wolf of Broad Street Real Estate Events and Consulting LLC, and been friends with Justin for some time now, and love what you're doing. And there's always room to grow. I started out as a guerrilla marketing, club flyers, knocking on doors type of marketing campaigns, and since the emergence of all these new platforms have definitely taken advantage of digital reach, and looking to learn and grow more with everybody.
Nice, nice. Thanks for sharing. Um, Graham, are you in a place where you can introduce yourself?
What's up, everybody? My name's Graham. I work with Pat Lopez over at Quaint Oak Mortgage. We run a podcast called The Real Estate Show with Pat Lopez, and we're looking to, obviously, with the help of Justin, thank you in advance, Justin, to
No problem,
grow
man.
our viewers, and our we sort of have multiple goals with the podcast in general. It's largely to give a service to the realtors, and so the realtors actually have something to market, right? Whether it be like YouTube Shorts, like through Opus Clips, or just things to so realtors have more content, and the more services we offer realtors, the higher likelihood they have of using us as a lender. So obviously, with the help of Justin and everybody's input here, I'd love to hear from everyone. So thank you for having us, Justin, and hello,
For
everybody.
sure, for sure. And Graham, I love that. I love that because, you know, exactly with what you're sharing and what you guys are trying to do is like, you know, you're trying to use content as um an asset, right? A negotiating tactic. And what better way than, you know, I'm a licensed realtor. When I get a buyer, I have to use a lender. So, I mean, I would rather use the lender that's providing me content, right? So, thanks for sharing, Graham. I really
Anytime.
appreciate it.
Anytime.
Um, Cynthia, why don't you go ahead and share, babe?
Hi, everyone. My name is Cynthia. I'm Justin's wife, and I'm also a licensed realtor. I guess for me, just learning and growing, I have him, we're always together. So I'm like, sometimes I don't even have to think about the content because he's already posting, and I'm like, can you do it? Can you do this? Can you do that? Like, so I don't even have to worry about it. But I'm trying to get in the habit of learning it for myself as well and educating myself. And as a realtor, getting outside my comfort zone and having to be in front of people and being on social media. That's so me and Justin are complete opposite when it comes to that. I'm like, I want to be behind the scenes. I really don't want to be seen. Like, I'm like, babe, you be seen. Like, you go, you talk, you speak. But I have to get out of my comfort zone, and I have to be in front of people. I love people, and I love to work with people that one on one. But he's like, we're on a date. He's like, let's record. I'm like, what? But I thank him for that because that gets me outside the box. That gets me outside my comfort zone. I'm like, now I'm getting used to being behind camera where but a year ago I would be like, please don't even bring the camera out. Like, leave it home. Like, don't bring the camera. But I'm grateful for him, and I'm proud that he's stepping out, and even though he may be fearful sometimes, he's stepping out and he's doing what he's called to do and working in his power spots. So it's great to see his journey as well. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. You getting me all teary-eyed on here. Dang, man. It's like, no, thank you, babe. I really appreciate it. Means a lot to me, seriously. Chris, are you in a place where you can share?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me, bro. Yeah, my name's Chris. Um, I was the owner of a small painting business, but um, I'm looking to, like, honestly, my next step is I want to do a small men's group of just like a group of men where we could challenge each other on different things and really base it around masculinity and what it is and what it isn't, and really challenge each other in different areas, and workouts and book readings and business, and business ideas and stuff like that. So that's the next step. But also, man, Jay, I really appreciate, you having me on here, and it's awesome to see you in your power spot. I know you a
Thank you,
long
brother.
time, and it's really awesome to see what you're doing. I'm proud of you.
No, I appreciate it, bro. It means a lot. Oh, we got Lexi in the house. Welcome to the show, Lexi. Chris, seriously though, thank you so much for sharing. And you're trying to build community, right? Because content, it's like we really got to reshape and relook how we look at content. And I think that's why it's really important to get clear. And that's kind of why I wanted to do this today and why I'll be doing these once a month, trying to work my way up to twice a month. And then, I want to get to the place where I'm doing it every week because that's exactly what I'm trying to do, Chris. I'm trying to build community, because we all need each other. Like it doesn't matter. Um, if you're more successful than this person, we can learn from everyone where they're at. But we also have to understand that working with someone that has experience in that field, it can really cut a lot of time. So even though I may not have, I'll ask Lexi some business advice before I give you business advice because she's been in business longer. She's really successful. She's an entrepreneur. Not saying that I can't give business advice, but I'll give you content advice because that's what I know and that's what I do. Chris, we were talking about this the other day, right? Like we trip sometimes, but it's like, no, I know who I am. I was born to do this. You know what I'm saying? And it's that's why it's really important narrowing in on what you're trying to do and how you can use content to kind of, complement that. But I don't want to keep getting off track. That's what I'll do if I keep going in. So I want to see if Lexi, if you're in a place where you can share kind of who you are and what you do and, why you hopped on this call today and what you're looking to expect, and what you're trying to build with your content.
All right, I'm trying to jump on. Can you see me?
Yeah, we can see you.
Hey. I'm sorry, what am I supposed to be sharing?
Who you are, what you do, and what you're looking to get from this session.
I am Lexi. I'm a realtor in PA. And I am looking to definitely see, at this point, I am interested in pretty much everything AI, because it's, the future. There's so much you can do. There's so many ways that it can help you improve your business, build a business, you name it.
100%. I really like that you drove that point in because, when I was thinking about preparing for this today, like, I got this presentation. It's like I'm trying to like really meet people where they're at. But if like that one thing that you just said, like AI can do so much. And traditionally we would need to hire a marketing person like Graham's on this call. He's the marketing person for, a successful loan officer that obviously doesn't have the time. So he's hired to specifically do just that, right? We're not all in a position where we can, hire a marketing person right now, but we can be in a position to train AI to be that marketing person and to be that assistant and to save us hours of time each week versus, not being able to do it. I mean, it's just content creation has evolved. I've been creating content for 6 years, and what you can do today, you couldn't do 6 years when I got started. Like you had to do everything on Photoshop and, these video editing platforms and cameras. And it's like content is so compact right now. You can literally have a camera this big and that's all you need. So thank you so much for sharing, Lexi. I really appreciate you hopping on here. Beth, can you share a little bit? I don't know if you're in a position where you can. It's all good if you can't.
Sorry, she stepped away for a second.
Okay, it's all good.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm just gonna share my screen. All right, so I want to welcome everyone once again. I also want to welcome the viewers that are on YouTube. And, we're going to get into it right now. So the power of digital content. In the current digital era, content reigns supreme. Crafting high quality and engaging digital content is vital for engaging your audience, enhancing brand visibility and boosting conversions. Content is king. Approximately 70% of consumers prefer to learn about a company through articles rather than advertisements. This highlights the power of content marketing in building trust and engagement with potential customers. So why content creators why content creation matters for business. So I think most of you that came on today, you know, brand awareness, of course. We all want more brand awareness, customer engagement, lead generation, and sales growth. Now, it really depends on what your objectives are, though, right? So are you trying to create content for brand awareness, or are you trying to engage with your current customers? Are you trying to actually generate leads, or are you trying to make a sale? And it's all of that completely will factor into what you're creating, right? So today I posted a TikTok video, and that was to drive sales growth because I was selling tickets for this webinar. But in order to get the word out about the webinar, I had to create content that's more of brand awareness. For instance, Graham's on here. He's one of my clients that I'm working with. The content that I create for him that has to do with his strategy and what we're working on is going to be a lot different than what's going to actually go on social media, if that makes sense. As a realtor, you know, this is very different as well because I started out as a realtor, and that's kind of where I learned about digital marketing because every real estate agent has to become a full-time influencer. How about it, Lexi? You really have no choice when you're in real estate. That's all they tell you starting out is that you got to create content, you got to get on social media. So then you get on social media and maybe the content's not generating leads right away. And maybe you're not getting enough views or you're not growing the way you want to. Now I'm working with clients that have YouTube channels that are trying to grow it because once you actually have the content and you have that part, there's different ways you can optimize and repurpose. But I think it's really important to just kind of drive in on this. And, you know, I kind of want to open it up to see, like, I want to do a word association, like content is, and then you guys give me an answer. All right. So I don't want to have to call on people. If maybe you guys can just kind of like chip in. Content is what to you?
I like a mix of informative and entertaining.
Connection.
Yeah, my bad. I muted myself. That's a really good one. Connection. That content is connection. Who else? I know y'all got something.
Back. I always figured content is a way to get people to know, like, and trust you. That's the best thing.
Very
I think
good.
everything boils down to know, like, and
Very
trust.
good.
That's what sales is. That's what we're all trying to do here. So
Helps you build credibility, right? Me and Josh did a whole course on visibility plus credibility equals profitability, right? Because the more visible you become and the more your content is informative, like Josh said, and the more your content connects, like Lexi said, the more credibility you get, right? So content is also credibility, right? Man, this is good. Thank you for everybody's participation. So, you know, the next part is like, okay, what am I creating and why? So I can get into all the tools because, like, that's a whole nother conversation. It's like, let's first all get grounded in what we're trying to create. So now let's say you came to me for coaching, and you're like, Justin, how can I grow on social media? I want to start creating content because I want to connect with my audience. I want to inform. I want to educate. I want to get that like, no, trust factor, right? It's like, what content do I create? Well, I don't know, because I know for me, I'm not sitting down to create like one short. Like, that takes too long, and like it's it's gonna it's gonna just have me stuck, versus positioning yourself where you can break all of that. And some of that has to do with, like, the research on your target audience and who you're trying to reach and how you reach them and where you meet them. But my first recommendation, if you came to me like that, I would say you should definitely start a podcast. And the most times that I say that to somebody, there's always an objection, right? Some of those objections include, I don't know what equipment to buy, or I don't have the equipment to buy. I don't have the equipment. I don't know what equipment to buy, or I don't know how to edit videos, right? Those, or that's not going to generate me leads today, so I don't want to do that, right? Like, there's so many people that, once they really understand and they narrow in on building their personal brand, that, they understand that the content is not always going to be monetized. It's not always going to have, it always should be targeted towards a direct result. But I think even narrowing in on like what we're aiming for, so that we're not let down, because then when we're let down, we stop doing, right? Because it's really hard to create content on YouTube consistently. And let's say in my case, right, I only have 1,800 subscribers. Like, that might be more than where you're at right now, but I've been creating content for like almost 5 years. Like, that's, it's like low key, like, do I even want to do this anymore? Right. But that's why you got to remember your why. Right. And let's fast forward to, so Graham, he's here on behalf of Pat Lopez. Pat Lopez has a YouTube channel where he wants to be the direct choice for real estate agents. He wants to be, the lender that they go to. So he has to solidify himself and take up market share by providing even more value than his competitors. I know locally there's a select few lenders who have a podcast, but I mean, he's not directly going to get leads right away from this per se. Like, the conversations that he's having with realtors and then providing them content, it might not get him a new right away. It might not get a new first time home buyer right away. But yet he still wants to solidify himself in his space and grow his platform, right? And I think once we cut past the noise and we narrow in and we have accountability, something like, this is an amazing opportunity for us to come together, to brainstorm, to share ideas, share what's working, what's not working, and to be able to dive into what can I do today to have better content, to have more content. And that's kind of what I'm going to jump into next, is like, okay, Justin, I know about content. That's why I'm on here. That's why I'm coming to somebody like you, right? Like, whatever people are thinking today, right? Like, it's really the discipline. It's really the discipline, and it's really the habits that we create. And we're reading a book right now. I'm in a coaching program where we have a book club, and the book club is the compound. I mean, the book we're reading right now is The Compound Effect. And man, how I could relate to, because let's say you are somebody that's like, for instance, in Graham's case, he's coming to work with someone like me, so that way they can grow on YouTube, right? The first thing that I'm going to do when I come in as a expert in content creation and digital marketing is I'm going to optimize his systems and the way he's spending his time and on what. Because the next thing to do is, once we're committed to content and we're creating content, because I guess where I'm at is like, not everybody's in the same place right now. So I'm trying to kind of cater to where people are at. Like, but there's a big hill for a lot of people, and they don't want to climb up because of what someone like Graham's going through right now. It's like, okay, once I have this vehicle, once I have this thing that's, and what do I mean by this thing? This podcast, this live stream, this show, this, whatever you want to call it. It's really simple though, and it just includes, me and Josh talked about this in a course before, creating a content calendar, setting the same time and place each week where you're posting. But I'm going to give you another one. We should be setting a time, and this is going to be whoever wants to continue getting on these calls. This is your homework, right? I have some resources, some handouts as well that I can't wait to give you guys. But we got to begin to write this stuff out, because we're never going to have good content unless it's like really thought out. So the one handout that I'm going to give you is a customer mapping journey, and it's just a good resource for being able to brainstorm on different types of touch points, as far as, where can I meet these people? You meet them on your website, you meet them on social media. Email engagement is huge. Or if I don't think like someone like you, Drew, like you're in an office right now. So that's like also a touch point as well. So for instance, right, you're at the office right now, but let's say somebody comes to you and they want to hear more about like what you can provide for them, right? Like that's a touch point where we can optimize that process, of course, through automations, but through content. And this is something I'm implementing now in my business, as far as, if somebody wants to meet with me or learn more, I want to be able to have a video that I can send them to make it really clear on what I'm providing and what I'm doing. I want to be able to interact more in emails, because if you schedule a meeting with me, that means you had an intent. You opted in. You might have not physically filled out a form, but and I'm sure Josh could even share so much about like the follow-up, right? Being able to use content as a tool to follow up. Or if like back to the website thing, if you have a specific thing that you're trying to achieve, whether that is a lead or for them to fill out a form or for them to learn more, being able to have content that kind of, streamlines that communication process. Because, and I'm going to share my screen back to the presentation. But some of us are still at stage one. Someone like Graham, he's over here at the optimization. So let's go to stage one real quick. Awareness, consideration, decision, retention, advocacy. How can we create content for this? Can somebody, give a suggestion real quick? Anyone. How can we create content for awareness? So Chris, you said you want to build community, right? You want to get a select group of men together online, right? How can you create a online brand and start to create content and bring awareness to that idea, right?
Maybe start like a Facebook group for men.
That is very good. That is very good. Cynthia, what did you just do the other night? You met with a few of the girls for
Mom.
for moms, right?
Yeah, we met new moms, moms that had more than one. We just all met, and just everyone was like vulnerable and transparent about like their struggles with motherhood, what they need help with, um, and we all just like gave our input, our just like our experience and stuff, and it was really good. And then it was like and then we like prayed for each other's needs and each other's children and stuff. So it was really good.
And that's content, right? And that's where back to like the branding is so important, because sometimes like your online thing and your online brand, sometimes it's not for your business. Sometimes it's has nothing to do with your business. I always encourage people to have it as a vehicle for your business, but maybe Chris, you are not trying to build your painting business right now, but you are trying to build an online community, right? So then it's like, to coach you, it would be like, okay, well, let's create content online to create awareness, to get people together, to get them on Zoom, right? And then when you get them on Zoom, you now have content that you can use to clip up, and we'll get into that, some of the tools, but now you have content, and you have an online brand that is now something that can be your business, right? um that was great. I appreciate you, Cynthia. Josh, how can we create content to um kind of like have consideration for, you know to build that credibility? Like, what's some ways that we can build credible content for right where we're at right now? What would you say?
Basically, like whatever your expertise is, just let the people see you work. You're already, putting in the work anyway. So just document it and, let people see you in meetings or at closings or getting new listings without asking for anything or any business, just like how activity creates activity. So just being relevant to your industry and your topics is automatically going to be a magnet for, viewers and potential business.
Right, right, right. Thank you so much for sharing, right? And what I really would like to do is be able to like, and that's what I'm trying to do, Chris. I'm trying to build community of like-minded individuals that, this might reach, and hopefully does reach, way more than my local audience. But I want to be able to get you guys to the point where you can reach your desired outcome, and that's going to be different for each person. But my hope and my suggestion and my encouragement, especially to someone like Drew, is start a podcast, right? There is really nothing that you need to start a podcast. It's just maybe you need the accountability, right? Because you don't have to have a super like crazy setup or anything like that. You can literally use Zoom if you wanted to start a podcast. You can use Zoom for a lot of things. I also have a client who he's a coach where his coaching classes meet 3 times a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we meet on Zoom and we basically just get to ask him questions. And like that's content, you know, the way he puts his YouTube videos up is he puts them up as, my bad, guys. All right, there we are. So, you know, kind of reshaping the way that we look at content, and just pressing play on a few things, right? So once we get clear and we get organized, we can start taking action because achieving clarity and maintaining organization and effective implementation is the most important when it comes to content. I was never much of a spreadsheet type of guy. I remember the first time I was introduced to Notion and I really didn't understand it. But the more I got into like creating content and planning and researching and, you know, all of these ideas, right? For all of us, all the ideas we have can become tabs open because of the content we're on, right? And it's, like how do we organize these ideas so that way we can take action? Because once you have clarity on your brand and content format, it's time, it's go time. And there's a few tools that I want to introduce that like you can use this tomorrow and I hope you do. I hope you text me or, you know, whoever's watching this right now that you say, Justin, I did that. What's next? Because then we can, you know, we can start the party because then we have the VIP formula. Because once you get there to where you have an understanding of your online brand, you have an understanding of your format, then the type of content is VIP, the VIP content formula. You should always be providing value. You should always be creating content that will have an impact, and you have to have persistence, right? Because if the content resonates with our audience, it might not at first, but as we start to tap into insights, analytics, you know, what does that mean, right? So for instance, right, let's talk about somebody that is on YouTube or Instagram, whatever. The best way to really sit down and audit your content strategy is to go through your analytics and see which one of my videos or posts had the most impressions, right? That's the simplest way to put it. And start to duplicate that, right? So let's say Graham, right? You're going through Pat's channel, right? And you're looking at his shorts. The first thing you're going to want to look at is which short has, and it becomes a chart, a graph, like in my head at least, you know, which short had the most views, right? And you look at that and you see how can I make this better and kind of reinvent this piece of content, right? Let's just say I'm gonna go to my channel real quick. Now, if right now you don't create content on YouTube, then you're going to want to go into Instagram or you're going to want to go into TikTok. Whatever you're creating content on, right? I don't know. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, and now I'm going to, okay. It's real fast. You don't need to be on it super long. You just, I'm sure if you've seen $1 million in your bank account, you would know, right? So, okay, like my average, I would say on something like this is like, okay, uh, so for me to kind of narrow in, like if I have like 600 views on a video, like that's okay, right? If I have 1,000, it's like, okay, they really like that. But then if you have 11,000, it's like, okay, they really like that. So am I going to go back and create the one that only had 600? Or am I going to go and reinvent kind of the one that had 11,000? And now this is my YouTube channel, my personal brand channel. It like this video particularly has nothing to do with my business at all. This video is never going to make me money. It's never going to bring me a lead, because what I did was I created content that had to do with a trend. Because when you start creating content, it's, what topics am I looking at, right? Because sometimes we overlook the fact of current events. Just take a look at the news today at 5 o'clock. That's a great example. The news is talking about what's going on in our world. It's talking about trending things, right? And sometimes that's really what our podcast could be, is us talking about the current events, and in the midst of that, giving our message. But yeah, I mean, so it's like, okay, well, the video that got the most was like, it just had to do with the trend, right? So I'm really not going to create that again. But when it has to do with like the videos that I want an action on, so if I want somebody to like the video, subscribe, I can find out more of that in the analytics. So that gets deep into like the retention and all of that. I don't want to go through that right now. So I'm going to stop right there, because some of you aren't there yet. So the homework is, what, if it's Instagram, what reel that I posted had the most impressions? And once we can kind of identify like for what we're trying to create, that's how we double down, right? But the next thing would be like, okay, well, equipment. I don't have equipment. So what equipment do I buy? In the handout, you guys are going to get all of my suggestions as far as like, this is the camera that I suggest everybody buy that is going to be creating content, because of the how compact it is. I was showing Josh and Beth this at an event. This thing is serious, right? It has a 1-inch sensor. It can fit in your pocket. It can live stream. I can live stream from this camera, right? I really, all I would need is this camera. So let's say, okay, Justin, I buy this camera. What's next? Okay, the thing that's next is pick a day and go live. I'm going to show you guys something real quick as far as what I did before. I almost like was late for this meeting, because I get so obsessed and in the trenches with content, man. Like it blows my mind what you can do with content. So, okay, you get to the place where you're creating content once a week, once a month, twice a month, wherever you're at, right? Someone like Graham, he's working for someone that creates a podcast every week. So my suggestions to him are going to be a lot different than yours, right? But for someone that does create content, it's like, what do I do then when I have the content? Because you can buy this and go live, and that's really all you need to do. You don't have to have any editing experience, because then you're taking that live stream and you're turning that into multiple pieces of content. So it breaks the ice. It helps you get through like the mundane part of it, and you have more of a choice, right? So I wanted to promote the the webinar, right? So I did a live stream. So then I took that live stream and I put it in Opus Clips. So I'm going to pull up Opus Clips right now. So I'm doing this thing. This thing is the webinar. This webinar is a way for me in my current business strategy and my current content strategy. It is a way for me to answer any questions, provide strategies, and try to prime the pump, so to speak, of getting people ready to where I want them to be so that way I can work with them. So that's kind of like my content strategy, right? So now I'm going to want to create different types of content within that, right? Like this Zoom is content, but now I got to create promotional content. So you can script this out and use ChatGPT, of course, but if you have value in you, that's all you need. Just go live, right? Do one live stream a month, and that could give you up to 30 videos. So now I have content. So I don't need any editing experience because I can literally edit the clip inside of Opus Clips. Has captions, has emojis. You know, you can do a lot of stuff, right? But I'm just, for the sake of time, AI generated B-roll. So the AI literally will generate B-roll based upon like the script, right? So let's say you're at the optimization stage, like someone like Graham, you know, this is where you know, my suggestions are going to be a lot different because you're going to want to look at your analytics. You're going to want to duplicate what's working, but you're also going to want to, one, always aim to improve, try to see how you can make it better in a shorter time, or you can, yeah, I mean, you just got to always make it better and shorten your time on doing that. So let's say you're in Opus Clips, right? How can you go another level deeper as far as trying to really engage with your audience if you're flat, right? It's going to be like, okay, are you doing the auto B-roll? Are you adding B-roll to it? All right. Are you, do you have captions? All right. So now, okay, Justin, yeah, I'm doing all of that. Oops. So the next thing we're going to want to be able to do after that is a hook. Something as simple as a hook can really change the game, right? So in Opus Clips, right, you can add a heading. So, you know, if you're at a place where you're creating content and the content's flat, you always got to understand that in today's digital landscape, you're paying with your time, right? So people are not going to want to watch your content or like your content or share your content if in the first 3 seconds they don't know exactly what you're doing and what you're trying to say to them. So that's where, like, where I'm at in my content creation journey is like, okay, I always want to aim to improve not only like the production quality, but actual, you know, the research and time that goes into preparing for the content. So that way I can use a hook on a video to kind of like break down that wall. So whatever you're doing, right? Let's say I'm trying to get people to the webinar, right? Content creation hacks you want to know about. That's just a quick example of, like, you know, how you can use a hook to start to get more engagement and go a level deeper, right? So I'm going to come out of this and I'm going to share something else because it's like, okay, well, I'm not there yet where I have a show or anything. It's like, okay, well, Hey, what's up, Vero? I see you hopped on. But we're going to want to get to the place where we can have a show and not have an excuse. So I don't have equipment, Justin, yet. I don't have the camera you recommended. Well, let me ask you, do you have an iPhone? Chris, I know you have an iPhone, so don't give me an excuse, but we all have an iPhone. And being able to utilize our iPhone for, let's just say, okay, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna bring one person who's an industry in their field. I'm going to bring them together for a conversation once a month. And that's kind of be, my warm up, so to speak. Right. But I really don't like the quality of Zoom. Okay, great. Zoom is kind of trash. I agree. So that's where I'm going to recommend Riverside. I'm going to pull up Riverside so you guys can see what Riverside is, and all these links will be in the handout. So Josh, somebody like you, it's like, bro, just do a podcast. Like you don't need anybody to do it. Like you can use Riverside and you have a professional setup now, right? Riverside makes it super easy to literally go from the ideation phase to the implementation phase, as far as now I have something that's a little more professional that I can use, and it really, looks like, now I look like the YouTubers that have, these virtual podcasts, right? So Riverside will literally give you this platform that you're seeing right here, where you can add a teleprompter. You can add a script. You can add your logo. You can add any videos that you want. Because let's say, okay, I'm to the point where I'm creating content once a month. I'm doing a podcast where, I'm bringing industry experts on, and we'll just call that my Justin Talbot show. I'm doing the Justin Talbot show once a month. And, that's gonna be my show, right? That show, let's just say it gets hypothetically to, in a month, 5,000 subscribers. You're not even going to have to reach out to sponsors. Sponsors will reach out to you, because in today, like what sponsors are looking for, like with bigger brands, and I've learned this from being a TikTok shop affiliate and an Amazon influencer, is that brands want to see that you have somewhat of an audience, but the size of it is not what they're looking for. They're looking for an engaged audience. So I recently met with a company that I'm going to share their software next. Their company is Blaze AI. And Blaze AI makes it super simple for your organization and planning process, right? Because I want to drive down these points one more time, that 1, 2, 3, go. Getting clear, getting organized, taking action. So a content calendar is essential for planning and maintaining consistent output. Tools like Notion, Blaze AI, and ChatGPT can efficiently assist in brainstorming and organizing ideas. These tools streamline the planning process, ensuring your content remains timely and relevant. All right. So we're getting close to 1 hour. I'm going to just go ahead and share this, and then we'll get any questions, because I respect everybody's time and I got to get ready for my 3 o'clock class. I know I'm kind of bouncing, guys, but bear with me. This is part of the process, is that, we have to get up the hill. Hopefully we'll get up that hill together, and then hopefully we'll be on to that next part of where someone like Graham is, where you have a show, you're producing content, but now you're trying to optimize and grow that, right? Because these are kind of like different conversations in a sense, but I think all of this, what it does have in common is the most important thing is time. You know, I don't have the time to do any of this, Justin. And that's why having the right tools can help assist in you being able to cut through that excuse and, you know, knock down any objections. Because with having a tool like Riverside, you now can limit that objection to, you know, I don't know how to start a podcast. I don't have podcast equipment. I don't have, none of that matters. As long as you have your iPhone, right? As long as you have your iPhone, you can start a podcast, and that podcast can be the marketing arm and kind of the vehicle for your business. Because we kind of talked about, you know, the different types of content, right? Back to the slides that we had, there's brand awareness, there's customer engagement. You know, there's these different types of content that we're creating. But the beautiful thing is when you're killing two birds at one stone, where you have the, oops, my camera went out. Sorry, guys. Because once you have that where you're creating content once a month, no matter what, this is what you're doing, you now have a platform to educate your audience on the things that you have going on, the events that you have coming up, the services that you provide. You now have a way to build trust. You now have a way to build credibility. And really, the success of your channel, your show, your digital asset that you're creating all lies in how optimized it is and how much it provides value to the viewer where they're at, right? Because we have these different phases. So someone like Drew, you have Trinity Solutions, you're a credit repair company. How can you use content and build a YouTube channel, let's just say, where you maybe bring on one of your partners or one, let's say even some of your clients that have gotten good results, or let's just say, you know, you work a lot with realtors, you work a lot with people like Josh, right? You know, cutting through the noise of having any excuse, laying it all out there, because yes, now a part of what Justin is providing is coaching services, where if you wanted to kind of brainstorm more about this and really like take accountability, yes, we can do this together essentially. But you know, and then you can hop on these calls to learn more and ask your questions. But it's just about doing it, right? Because you're on here because you want to create content. We all have to create content in some way, or and even let's get away from the business stuff, right? And this is what I love about Josh is that, you know, the travel content, the family content, the, you know, the, who doesn't want better content, right? It doesn't have to be just for your business. And that's kind of one thing that I really dove into, because I have multiple YouTube channels. I manage multiple YouTube channels. I don't even want to look at YouTube when I'm at work because I have so many responsibilities in that space alone, right? But it's it's nothing but us in our own ways. Like, and what I really found in Vero, I'm glad you're on here right now, because really the thing that I feel like I discovered, and this is right in time, is that like I know who I am now. And once you have clarity on who you are and who your brand is and what you're providing for your business, once you have that clarity, it's like I just don't have enough time to create the content because the ideas are so fresh, right? So a part of like today's meeting is you're going to get a handout with some of these resources. I didn't get to get into all of them or all of the presentation because, like I said, there's people, different places of their journey, and I'm kind of trying to cater to each one of you. But my goal is for you to build the content, to become the content that you want to see, right? So I do want to get to this part real quick. Let me see. All right, so I'm just going to share the last part of the presentation and then open up for Q&A. All right, so set clear objectives, define specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals for your content strategy. I think Vero, like that's why I love why you're on here, because how perfect is the book that we're reading with like where I'm at right now. What I'm trying to do is like the compound effect. It it's not going to happen overnight when we start the thing, right? But once we start the thing and we're consistent with the thing, what happens, and this is the rule of the compound effect, is the ripple effect. It just takes one video that could literally change your life. Like I'm at the place now where I understand that like it just takes one video. And if that one video is, let's just say it's driving traffic to an affiliate link, I can get up to like $10,000 a month if I have the right affiliate, um, program. Let's say for me, I'm with Amazon, right? I'm an Amazon influencer. It just takes the right video about the product that I use and the experience that I've had, and maybe a little education, and my whole world could be flipped upside down. And that's because of the ripple effect. You have to be consistent for the ripple effect to happen. Okay. Can't find it, but the homework that I have for you guys is I'm going to get in. This will all be in the handout, but Camo Studio, use your iPhone as a webcam. I was getting a call, so I had to switch back to my webcam, but I'm going to show you guys the difference real quick. So this is my regular FaceTime webcam. And this is what Camo looks like. But let's say, okay, I don't, I'm someone that I'll buy a year-long license for a software. Maybe you're someone that you're like, I'm not doing all of that. Then it's okay. They have the iPhone. I have the iPhone 15. It automatically syncs if you're on the right Wi-Fi network. This is all automatic. Like you don't even need an app or anything. And you can customize it. You can do so much. And this is just using your iPhone as a camera. And it really does depend on like your computer and all of that. But I feel like everybody that I've ever recommended to Camo has used it, because it's like, why wouldn't I use my iPhone as a camera opposed to my webcam when I'm on Zoom, right? We're all on Zoom for some type of meeting, and Zoom is a great way to get content. So once you have Camo Studio and you're like, okay, yeah, Justin, I do want to implement what you're saying. I think that does sound reasonable and sensible for me to just get somebody once a month and have a conversation, have a live stream. Why not, right? I really feel like that could get me a step closer towards my goals. And that's what I'm going to do, right? What's next? Well, of course, you can do it in person. If, like Pat Lopez, he does his podcast in person. But let's say you are farther away. Let's say you are. I work with Vero all the time, and she's in California. Like, it doesn't matter where you're like, and sometimes that's why it's really important to get clear, to understand, man, maybe I'm limiting myself as well. So Riverside is what I would suggest. Makes it super easy to hop on, invite your guests, and repurpose right from the app. You really don't even need to go into any other editing apps. Descript is, I feel like I'm going to have to do like workshops on each of these, because I know each of them, they're great tools, but it would take me forever, and I do want to get some Q&A, but also CapCut. CapCut is the mobile video editing platform that I use on my phone. I'm actually a CapCut creator as well. I create templates on CapCut and get paid from it. It's nothing like crazy, but you know, let's just say I make $100 a month off CapCut templates. You know, that's cool. I can get better too, and I could provide more value through these templates. See, now we're getting like, wow, how content can, you know, it's just so many different places, you know, you can use like content, right? So also another thing that I've found is, you know, a lot of times when I'm working with people, they'll say, Justin, I am not the creative type. So I'm going to give you 4 tips to cultivate a creative mindset. This is what I was looking for earlier. So let me just share this real quick. Boom. So these are my 4 tips for cultivating a creator mindset. And I don't ever want to hear any of you, because you're all personal friends. I have a relationship with each and every one of you. I don't ever want to hear you say to me, like, I'm not curious, because that's why I'm providing you these steps right here and encouraging you to reshape and redefine how you look at content. Embrace curiosity, be open to new ideas, explore different perspectives to spark creativity. Challenge assumptions through storytelling, right? Content is such a great way, YouTube specifically, to kind of break the norm, to kind of, you know, go against the grain, so to speak, and to kind of like polarize in the sense of, you know, being able to narrow in on a topic and give your perspective. So that's why a live stream would be great, because you are all industries in your own lane, and you have the credibility to have these conversations. So bringing your perspective is super, that could literally lead to 30 videos per month. If you have one conversation and it's long enough, at least an hour long, you can get seriously 30 videos. And you can schedule those videos right through Opus Clips, because they have that integrated in their platform. And you can literally, that's when you get to, like, when you hear people say faceless automated channels. Well, you can have an automated channel through a podcast, because you're uploading the long form, and then what you're doing is automating and scheduling these shorts that ultimately lead back to this long form. So we have to start looking at this long form piece of content as something very important, because in there you can build trust, you can provide credibility, you can really narrow in on what you do and what you provide. So that way you're optimizing the user experience for your potential client or customer. They know what to expect. They know what, you know, you're doing, what you're providing, and they have intent. So experiment and iterate. Don't fear. Try new things, refine your ideas, use Descript and CapCut's voiceover features to create content without being on camera. So if you're at the place where you say, I don't even want to be on camera, you still don't have an excuse, because you can literally, in these platforms, in Descript and CapCut, you can do voiceovers. They have the most trending voices that are out. But for the sake of inspiration, yeah, I forgot this. Analyze your competitors to find what's working in your niche or your industry. And these are some strategies how to do that. You use TikTok playlists. I know, Chris, you're on TikTok a lot. Start to create playlists of the content that provides you value, because that's a great way to say, okay, here's my new list of ideas based upon, you know, this playlist. Start creating playlists, whether it's on TikTok, you can do it on Instagram, you can do it on YouTube. Whatever inspires you, save it. Whatever you got value out of, save it. And then you look at why it got your attention, study the thumbnails, study the titles. Because I see a lot of people come over to YouTube and they have trouble because they're not using thumbnails for what thumbnails are really for. And thumbnails are really about, thumbnails are not like for branded content on YouTube. Thumbnails are to really grab attention and hook the viewer. Sorry, guys, my bad. I can't see myself. There we are. Man, and I do apologize, y'all that are on here. If this was a little clunky, man, this is, this is literally like I'm learning on the go how to like use Zoom for what's going on in my mind. So it's like, don't ever hate when someone that is on Zoom, because it's like, man, it's like they got all these different windows over here, over there. I'm trying to share my screen, but it's like up there, and then I can't see you guys. But then like when I see you guys, I feel more centered and grounded. So like I'm trying, my guys. But yeah, I mean, really, I want to be your thought partner. I want to create community. I want to help be, a change maker for those of you in your business that want to create more content, because there's tools that can help you do it, right? So we went through a few of them. In the handout, you will see all of my recommendations, stabilizers, something like this. Where is it? If you want something like this, a stabilizer. If you want the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, if you want some wireless mics, these are Rode Wireless. If you do end up buying this from Amazon, they have a creator combo where it comes with a wireless mic. So you literally have everything you need with this. But I got my rig, I plugged this camera in and it works. So I didn't need the creator combo. But along with the apps that I provided, I didn't really get into Blaze AI, but I do want to just give you guys a quick preview. I'll log in real quick and just show you how you can start using Blaze AI as your content calendar and literally create a month's worth of content, in like 10 minutes. So Blaze AI, I met with them and their team last week, or maybe like 2 weeks ago, because they're really interested in their users and how they're using the platform. And when I told them I had a webinar and that I help business owners create content online, they were really interested in, possibly connecting, right? So like I said, once you start your thing, the brands will come to you. So once now I've repurposed this video of all the tools that I'm using, and then I make a nice little recap, right? The brands that see this online, especially if it gets good views, they're going to want to work with me and sponsor content. So Blaze AI makes it super simple. It is kind of overwhelming when you first log in it, but just go to make this easy for me and go to produce a month of content and pick your platform. If you have a YouTube channel and you're trying to grow the YouTube channel, I would say, okay, well then now start a blog. Take your YouTube videos, turn them into blogs, and always lead back to the video to get more views, right? That's just a way of kind of like to backlink, to optimize, use the features in YouTube as far as YouTube Shorts can actually connect to a longer video. I do want to share that real quick as well while I'm on it, because I think sometimes people don't even know that you can do this, and it's a game changer. So let me show you as an example. We'll go to something I did with Coach Lucky. Boom. I got to go to my analytics. Give me 1 second. I feel like if you guys know this, like, it's like, why wouldn't I use this? Because, you know, it's about working smarter, not harder, and getting the biggest bang for your buck, right? So this is a YouTube short. You guys can see YouTube right now. So this is a YouTube short. This is the back end editing it. For most people, this says none right here because they don't know that you can connect a video. So what does that mean when you can connect the video? Well, what that means is, okay, you started your thing, your show, your podcast, your live stream, your webinar, whatever it is, whatever your vehicle is. Once you put that together and it's on a platform like YouTube, okay, now the goal is to repurpose that and get more out of it. So once you're doing that and you're posting shorts on YouTube, you should always make sure that there's a related video and that it's strategic what you're linking back to. Because now if you, and it really helps you understand how to like compartmentalize content, because you want to give them just enough for them to go and watch the full video. So the video that I did with him, that was a longer video that I'm going to connect, is let me see, where was it? For the sake of time, I'm just going to link it to, because I don't know where it is, this, right? I think this might have been it. So save it. What does that look like now? Okay, loading. So down here, it's connected and it has the full video. So if you can hook your audience in that minute, in that first, and now YouTube Shorts is, you have 3 minutes on YouTube Shorts. But if you can hook them just enough to lead them back to the full video, you now have, you know, more ways to engage with your potential audience, right? So that will help you get more views and help you get your watch time. But that was right there, right? So now, okay, I'm going to create Facebook for a month. What do you want to write about? So small business owners and entrepreneurs ready to take their digital presence to the next level, marketers and content creators looking to save time and get more done, podcasters and YouTubers wanting to maximize their content potential and grow their audience, anyone eager to leverage AI and automation to supercharge their content strategy. That's who this is for, because your content should always be for someone. So I'm going to hit this button, generate more context for me. Have Blaze autofill the rest. So what is the source material? The source material is, okay, you guys are going to get a handout. It's going to be 12 prompts to take into ChatGPT. It's not going to cost you any money. And you're going to use these 12 prompts to brainstorm about your brand. You're going to get crystal clear on your brand, because if you guys hop on the next one, we're going to be able to have room to jump into the other things. So Graham, bear with me. We're going to meet this week anyways. But this kind of laid the foundation. All right. So you're going to get your brand voice, right? Because when you're using a platform like Blaze AI, it's always going to ask for like right here, source material. You know, sometimes it might be your brand voice, like in Chat GPT. It's going to ask you like your persona, so to speak, right? So that's why it's good to brainstorm in this place, because you can have clarity on what you're providing to this AI, because now you're going to basically train your own AI to to create content for your business. So it's important that you be crystal clear, because learn from me. For a while, I wasn't crystal clear with my content, and guess what? It didn't get me the results that I wanted. It wasn't my viewers' fault. It was my fault because I wasn't clear. So getting crystal clear, getting our brainstorming going, getting the wheels turning, and now we have our brand voice. So now we're going to use that as our source material, right? So now we're going to generate the post. And this is just like something kind of I wanted to give you guys, because this is something you can use today that you can implement like that, and it doesn't take being on video or camera. This is a platform that, you know, you can actually use it as a tool to create your content calendar for, okay, I'm going to do YouTube. What kind of YouTube videos do I create? Well, at least try to brainstorm and script them out, so that way you have something to go into the video with, right? So, but for this, for the sake of like maybe where some of you are at, we're just going to do Facebook, right? And okay, let's say all of these work. I'm going to select them all. Plan 15 posts on the calendar. All right. So what is this for? I'm going to do it twice per week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And it's going to be a campaign in a folder called Live Webinar. And I'm going to generate the post. Because guess what? I am not going to have a problem promoting this webinar again, because I'm going to do it all at once, right? Because I might forget, honestly. So we're going to do all of this at once, opposed to, that's why I'm saying, like, discipline yourself. The compounding effect, the compounding content effect, I call it. Discipline yourself once a week to brainstorm with these ideas that we shared today, with the homework, and really begin to build your online brand. You know, if it's for your business, or if you're creating a, you know, a digital asset that can feed your business, because sometimes people get confused with, well, I have my business and I have my personal brand, or, you know, what's the difference? So I'm just going to stop right there because it's 2:30, and I do want to answer any questions if you guys have any. Thank you everybody for bearing with me as we got into the nitty gritty. And sorry, I was not on the chat. I'm looking at it now, but I see. All right, Vero, how do I see whose hands are up? Like, Zoom's killing me today.
When you hover over on the top while you're sharing, it pops up that banner with your options to pull out the participants and
Okay.
the chat while you're sharing.
Oh, I had my own hand. All right, so yeah, anybody, if you have any questions, you could just, you know, jump out, you know, but
I do have a question.
for sure.
While I'm at it,
Please.
yeah. Does Blaze replace
First,
platforms?
real quick, Vero, you weren't here in the beginning. I want you to real quick introduce yourself for the audience to have context on, you know, what you do, and possibly if they could ever work with you.
Oh, thank you. My name is Vero, and I am a Shopify Grandmaster. I help business owners increase their time, profits, and conversion rates by strategically building and managing their Shopify stores. My question, Justin, is does Blaze replace platforms like Later, where we schedule out the post, or do we use Blaze to create the content and then we can kind of download and schedule it on Laters?
Yeah, so potentially it could replace it, because you can integrate your socials. And yeah, so like for me, I posted a couple times where I would create the content, generate the content, and then schedule the content all within here. Like I didn't even go high level. And you know, I use really go high level for most, but yeah, this is like, it's really game changer. And you know, you can go right to here to brand styles and begin to like create a brand voice. If you have a website, so someone like you, Josh, you can come here and use your website as source material. So it would literally be like this, right? New source material, and let's do it for the sake of, since we're on here. Boom, real quick. So you take your website, you paste it in here, and boom. Now it's you know, extracting and learning more about your brand, right? So I work with you a lot, so I can use this. It would be beneficial. And, you know, in a nutshell, right?
Okay. Okay.
But you can get a free 7-day trial with the handout that I'm going to be giving you guys. You don't need this, you know, you can use Canva. Canva is great as well. I use Canva. Thanks, Drew. I really appreciate it. Um, yep, no problem, bro. I appreciate you. But yeah, so you don't necessarily need this. It's just another tool in the toolbox, because like what I look at with all these AI tools and resources and softwares is they're all tools to help me do a thing. So for some people, this could be really helpful because it does do visual as well. And you can kind of have one central location that actually integrates. I mean, but also Canva schedules as well. So if you have the pro version. So, you know, for me, this is just really more on like the organization part of it. But essentially, yes, it could help you schedule.
Okay. And I guess I'm only asking mainly because, for example, I have my daughter doing some social media for a couple of my clients, and she's creating everything in Canva and then going into there later and then uploading it. So something like this, I'm wondering
So
if we
on
can just
that,
download it and
on
then put it on there later.
Well, potentially, this is what you could do, right? You can upload those posts as, let's say, like uploads, right? You upload those posts and you kind of factor that into your ideation and creation part. Because it's like sometimes we don't plan the content good enough, and that's why it doesn't do well. But the more like refined the content is, the better it could actually have a direct impact and result for where we're at, right? So let's say your daughter creates the content in Canva, you upload it in here, and you just say, hey, for the sake of the free trial, I'm going to create all of this at once with just how I showed you, like this, create new. And I mean, it's overwhelming. That's why I don't want to get into all of this, because this is everything it can create. And you can literally, like, I can go back here and I can select all of these that I want to create, right? So if I want to create a blog post, multiple X posts, multiple Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Pinterest, if I want to create a case study, a content brief, a content outline, a blog post, blog ideas, Facebook, like it's wild what it can do. Um, but if you have your actual images and content, um, it can kind of, like, for instance, you would go to the design part and you can use that in there. And maybe, you know, maybe you leave it, maybe you add something on it, maybe you don't, you know, however you want to do it, if that makes sense. But
Yeah,
yeah, you could just schedule it though if you wanted to from Canva.
right, right.
Do you have Canva Pro?
I do. I do. And that would be probably something I would use for my own self. But when we're talking about different clients and their own accounts, we probably still would keep it separately. Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right.
But
And
as far as content creating bulk, it sounds interesting.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Because someone like you, you're a lot like why people come to me, right? Like they want, you know, it might be a part of your service that you can layer in there, right? So it's more value you're providing because it's easier to do. So now you're really setting yourself apart in the marketplace because you're not like you're providing a full solution now because it really, if you're creating their store, then you have their brand voice, you have their store, like you could, yeah, just potentially go in there once a month. We could even partner together. And we could talk about that as well, to what that could look like, because essentially you can, once you have the brand voice, right, you can do anything.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about it. I have it on beta mode right now, so yeah.
All right, all right. And yeah, I will be let me just put this in the chat real quick, or I'll email it to you guys. But everybody will get the outline that has all the apps, resources, and the equipment that I'm suggesting. But like I said, this is, I'm trying to do this once a month because let's say nobody hops on my Zoom, it's okay, I'll go live. This is my way of disciplining myself and creating new disciplines to create more content, to create a lasting effect that provides more value. The VIP content formula. So yeah. Any other questions?
Great information. Thanks, Justin. Appreciate you.
Yeah, Josh, I really appreciate you hopping on, man. It really means a lot. But if you need anything, you let me know. I hope that you got some value out of this, and I hope that maybe you learned something that you can implement like today. That's why I wanted to meet on a Monday. That way we can all kind of come together and start the week strong and accountability and go deeper. Let's end the year strong, yo.
Absolutely. I got my notes. Appreciate you. Hit me up
My
later.
man. For sure. Thanks, bro. Thank you. All right. Mr. Graham, you still with us?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I know we got into a lot today, so I'm not sure if this kind of met you where you were at right now, but I think we're going to be meeting this week. I'm just going to check back with Pat as far as the date that works, but I say that we definitely kickstart this program that we're going to be doing, and just like all we're going to do is just create systems around what you're already doing, right? Like you're creating content for him weekly because he does the podcast weekly. So it's like, how can we cut time in that workflow? Descript is something I really didn't get to jump into, but since you're on here, if you want, I could kind of like show you a little bit behind the scenes with that.
Sure.
All right.
For sure. Great.
Yeah. And Graham, this is the way that I'm using content in my business is like, you use content to build layers, like I don't care what's going on because I have content that can help you where you're at now, right? So it's like
For
once
sure.
you build that library of content, you have so many different ways to help people and meet them where they're at.
I mean, I'm really interested to dive into Blaze AI a little bit more. Never even heard of that a moment in my life. So I think that's going to be a great tool for sure.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying, right? Even with like on the optimization end for YouTube, there's a tool that I use. It's called vidIQ. And it's once you have the research and the keywords, it's so much easier then to go into platforms like Blaze, even repurposing more content faster because you understand the message now, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna just give you a quick rundown of this real quick of so you're editing a podcast and it's like, okay, I know you said you're editing in Canva, right?
Yeah.
So let me just go to Let me just go to this real quick. So if you can edit a Google Doc, you can now edit videos. Descript brings a whole new kind of like concept to video editing because people think they don't know how to edit videos, but a lot of people are great at like writing papers and sending emails, and that's really all the skill you need to create content with Descript. So Descript has basically their own AI inside of the transcript part right here where you see, so the way you edit videos is a lot different, but I'm going to show you my proven method for someone like you. You're editing a podcast, right? So let's say this is a podcast because it was a Zoom recording. The first thing I would do is come in here and I would remove the filler words. So there's 19 filler words. I just removed all of them with the click of a button. I'm going to shorten the word gaps to make sure it flows a bit more cohesive. I am going to also add chapters because it's extremely important when you're on somewhere like YouTube that you have the chapters, because people a lot of times, if it's information, they're not going to sit there through the whole thing if like it's not serving them. So it's a good way for like the chapters, as long as they align with like what they're into, that they'll keep watching. So I added chapters and now I'm going to draft a title. Oops, examples. Just leave that blank. So it gives you like 8 options. Let's say I like this one. I'm going to go with this. Boom. Use this as the title. Done. Now I'm going to draft up a description. Okay, so now I'm going to save this. It's like if you have notes, Google Doc, whatever, just paste that right there. And then, essentially it depends, like, what we're talking about, whose channel, what the goal is, the format. But if I wanted to, essentially, I could just publish this to YouTube from here. I can literally click on YouTube and like it goes automatically like this. So then in that sense, I could just take the description right here.
You don't have to
And
go through any of the YouTube prompts. They're just all right. It just goes right to your channel.
exactly.
Oh, well, that's sick. Okay.
Because once you have your workflow and your process, you got to cut time in places, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes, there's these tools like, and then it's like, okay, you optimize your time now. And then it's like, well, I want to amplify the message, right? So, okay, well, let's consider maybe setting up a audio platform. Why not? We can, and that's something that when we're working together, what I'm going to suggest that we do is like, we should, because within your flow, it's not going to take any more time, but it's going to give more exposure and more probability of him getting discovered on these platforms. Does it make sense?
Absolutely.
So, let's say you just want to save it. It connects to Google Drive. So, there's so much to jump into, Graham.
Nuts, man.
But yeah, I'm going to hop off here because I got a 3:00
Yeah,
meeting, and it's
please.
like
Please.
I spoke so much, my throat's getting sore.
I
But
bet, yeah.
dude, thanks for hopping on. Thanks for showing support. I'm really excited to work with you guys. I really think we're about to blow it out of the park for Pat. I think
Love to
me
hear
and you
that.
are going to make a great team. So really excited, Graham, to work with you, and thanks for showing support, man.
Absolutely, Justin. Have a great rest of your day. Great meeting today, and reach out to Pat, and we'll get the next thing we're doing on the books. All right.
Awesome, man. Let's go. Let's get it. Thanks, bro.
Later, man. Have a good one.
See ya. Sin, did you get a lot out of it?
Yeah, I really got a lot out of it.
All right.
That was really good. And then I just was like keeping up with the chat. So, because you were saying you can't see it, so, but Vero asked her question because she wrote it at first. And then Chris said, he had to go, but you can tell because he like pulled up somewhere and like got out the car. But he stood for like an hour and 15 minutes. So he stood a good amount of time.
Well,
And
yeah, and like let me
Chrissy,
stop.
she came for a little bit. She came, you know. Oh,
Huh?
yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like Chrissy came, like that was good. Everyone came, and I was just keeping up with the chat because, and then like welcoming people, but you were good because when people hopped on, you welcomed them. So that was like good. And then if Vero didn't get to her question, I was gonna chime in and say, I was just gonna read her question out loud.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so well, I mean, I'm glad I did it because I learned so much on like how to prepare and like, it's really overwhelming when I have so much information in my mind and then I'm trying to like click present before share.
But you
Um,
you stuck with you went on the slides, and when you felt like you were going a little bit to the left, you brought it back. That's growth.
yeah.
Like you was aware, but I mean, it was great information. Like I didn't feel lost. I didn't feel like you were everywhere, even though like maybe things came in your mind. However, but on this end, watching you, it didn't look all over the place. It looked like you stood on one thing and then you went to the next, and then you, when you felt like you were, going a little bit, you came back. But it was good. And that's exciting for Chris one to do that. That's it. That's exactly what I've been telling you about the mom thing. So that's like something like,
That's what
you
I'm
know,
saying. Like he should.